Welcome to the third episode of Music Chatterbox Singapore Season 2. Last season, we learned about the erhu and the Hu family. Today, we'll be exploring the other relatives of the Hu family, namely the Zhonghu and the Teochew Erxian. Bena and Chen Ning are with me at the Sun Yat-sen Nanyang Memorial Hall. Let's welcome them.
Hello.
Chen Ning, how do you start playing the Zhonghu?
I started playing the erhu first when I was 10, and then I played the Zhonghu after, first in the Toa Payoh West CC Chinese Orchestra, which is also known as Singing Fire Tuan. I continued playing the Zhonghu at NAFA and SNYCO. So for most string players, erhu is usually our main instrument, and after that we'll branch out to either the gaohu or the zhonghu.
So what's the main sound difference between the Zhonghu and the erhu?
For the zhonghu, it's slightly lower and mellower compared to the erhu, which is comparable to the violas in the Western Symphony Orchestra. During the late 20th century, modern Chinese orchestras actually underwent several developments and improvements to keep up with the times. So one of them was actually to increase the range of the erhu, which is how the zhonghu came about.
So Bena, what about the Erxian?
So the Erxian is called the jihi in Teochew, and it means two strings. And in the ensemble, the Erxian player is called the taoqiu, and in Chinese it means tou shou, and in English it means leading hand. So most of the time, the taoqiu will be the person leading the ensemble by setting the pace and mood of the music, as well as providing any cues in transition, in speed or rhythm.
Sounds like an important job. So if I want to listen to traditional Teochew music nowadays, where should I go?
So today you can hear it at concert halls such as Esplanade or SCH, and dinner events also. But most commonly in Singapore, you'll be able to hear it at religious events such as in the temples.
Oh, so how do you pick up the Erxian?
So I'm actually Hainanese, and the first gig that I did outside of the orchestra was for Hainanese opera. And from there I met like different musicians, and somehow I stumbled upon Nam Hua Music Ensemble. And I met my teacher at one of Nam Hua's Teochew opera shows, so he was invited to be the taoqiu. So after that performance, I approached my 老师 for lessons to learn more about Teochew boat string instruments.
So I'm actually quite guilty because I am Teochew, but I can't speak it at all. Do you learn to speak Teochew from doing all of this?
No, not really, but I can roughly understand because it sounds quite similar to Hokkien.
Okay, that's already better than me.
Yeah. So during lessons, like my 老师 will speak to me in Teochew and Chinese, and then he will do some demo. And then if I have any questions, I'll just ask him in Chinese.
So now we've learned that both instruments have two strings and are part of the Hu family. But what about their differences?
For the zhonghu, is actually tuned a fifth apart, so the inner string is actually tuned to G, and the outer string is tuned to D.
So this actually also corresponds to the lowest two strings of the violin.
That's right. And then for the zhonghu, the strings are actually metallic, and the sound is lower and mellower compared to the Erxian. I think because the zhonghu's sound box is slightly bigger compared to the erhu, so that's why the tone color will be slightly lower and mellower.
How about the Erxian?
So the Erxian is slightly different. Our inner string is made of silk, whereas our outer string is made of metal. And the strings are tuned a fourth apart. So the inner string is tuned to C, and then the outer string is tuned to F.
So this is my first time hearing the Erxian, and it's a lot louder and more high-pitched than I expected.
Yep. Do you want to try?
Sure. Okay, so,
So you can
I
cross
copy
your
what you're doing.
Yeah, okay.
Like
Can
this.
put this here.
This is metal.
Yes, metal.
Okay.
The bottom is wood, but there's a metal rim.
The-
So you
the-
can hold it like a normal erhu bowl.
The bow is a lot tighter and heavier. Then why is it it's hard to control?
Yeah, you can hear like the tone will change, right? So you need to like really adjust your bow to make sure it moves in a very straight line. The sound box is like round. So you see the Zhonghu over here, you have like the...
It's flat.
These are octagon, yeah. So yeah. You need to push out a little bit more, yeah. Yeah, your hand will cramp, yeah.
It's a lot harder than it looks.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Now I understand why you need to go and 上课 for this.
So do you want to try Chen Ning's Hu?
Chinese Hu? Okay. There was a myth. The myth is that the 老师 will look at your hand size. Those with a very big hand, a very big palm, or like what they call like very thick fingers, they'll be like, Ayden, why don't you play the Zhonghu instead?
Oh, maybe that's why they also asked me to play Zhonghu. Because I think my hand is quite big also.
This Zhonghu sound not bad. Thanks to both of you, I now know a lot more about each of these instruments. So for the very next segment, we're going to be playing a game to test your understanding and skills of the instrument. Let's take a look at the rules of the game.
Each player will pick a ball from the box, and depending on its color, you will be tested on your skills and understanding of your instruments. What are we waiting for? Let's play!
So Chen Ning, you have the blue ball, whereas Bena has the red ball, right? So who's going to go first?
Chen Ning.
She picked the ball first, so you go first. With the blue ball, you need to tell us an interesting story about your instrument. Ideally, it comes with some demonstration also, so we can hear your marvelous playing.
For the Zhonghu, it's a bit influenced from the Mongolian culture. So there are a few pieces in the Zhonghu repertoire. So you have like 战歌 or like 草原上. All these are very influenced by the Mongolian culture. So you can actually hear a lot of characteristics in these pieces. So actually for erhu, they can also do throat singing, but Zhonghu will sound more realistic because tone color of the Zhonghu is slightly mellower and lower compared to the erhu. So this one will be throat singing.
Wow, like it almost feels like you get transported to the Mongolian grasslands.
Yeah, so actually this technique is basically me using the bow to rub against both strings that will produce a double sound. Okay, I'll showcase a short improvised tune for Chang Diao. So this is unaccompanied vocal music that can be found in the grasslands.
I think when you hear something like that, these are the moments that really let the Zhonghu shine. A lot of times we think of it as a supporting instrument in a Chinese orchestra, but there are also times where it can be a solo instrument. So we're going to let Bena get ready. Chen Ning, I'm just very curious, what about this instrument strikes you the most?
I think the fact that it's so high-pitched and actually it's quite unique. You see the prints on her sound box and like on top.
Yeah, so over here we have like melons and stuff, and on my other instrument we have like phoenix or like dragon. I think Teochew people like pretty things.
Okay.
So they like to decorate their instruments with this kind of like seashells.
Well, thanks for that fun tidbit. Since you can talk to us, I assume that you're ready.
Okay, Ken, let's do it.
Thanks for that performance. Chen Ning, do you see that there's something peculiar about the way that she plays the Erxian?
Yeah, she actually uses her baby finger to like hook on the string, is it?
Yeah, so in Teochew music, most of the time we don't use the fingertip. So for erhu and zhonghu, we usually use the fingertip to press. And then for the Erxian, we use the joint over here, and then we hook.
Wow,
Yeah,
that seems really difficult.
it's a very painful process.
Chen Ning, so what kind of emotion do you think we have in this envelope?
Based on what I've heard her play, I'm guessing it should be a joyous occasion. Something happy, exciting, joyful, yeah.
Well, that is spot on because what we have in here is happy.
Nice, thanks.
Is there a name of the piece?
Yeah, this song is called Feng Liu Zi. It means like a carefree person, yeah. So like it's faster, and then we use like shorter bow.
Huge thank you to both of you for sharing about your instruments today. Right now, we're getting ready for the duet piece between the Erxian as well as the Zhonghu. Shall we get to it?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go!
For today, I'm going to show you the rhythmic beats.
So one of the cool things about Paiku is that I can actually play fast passages.
Okay, are you impressed?
Not bad, yeah.